Okay, so it is February 2nd, 2025, and it's time for a business and equipment update. I have most of my equipment here. There's two pieces that are not here. Not sure when they're going to make it back. They are two pieces of equipment that I've had in years past, so I'll just kind of summarize on them. But I want to go ahead and make this video because I noticed that I did not make one in 2024. And I'm sure it was the same scenario. I was going to wait until all the equipment was here. I just don't know when that's going to happen. So we're going to make it today. The jump, I just watched the last 2023 video just to kind of get a recap so I knew what to talk about today. And the jump from my business from 2023 to 2025, everything is pretty much completely different. So really cool to kind of see that. And I'll throw the link down below if you want to check out the 2023 video. But yeah, a lot of changes in my business with equipment. So it's pretty cool to see that. So a little summary for the last 2 years. 2023 was a pretty decent year. 2024 was by far my best year ever in business. I made a few changes in the services I was offering, the equipment, and it seems like everything finally clicked for me. Everything just kind of made sense last year. So looking forward into 2025, my biggest goal is to just kind of fine tune things. I need to be more organized, and I just want to focus more on the services that have been profitable for me. So nothing like all the equipment's in place. I don't really want to add any more services. I just want to fine tune to maybe be quicker or more efficient on what I'm offering. So that's the big goal for 2025. So we'll see how that all works out. Also, I say it again every year, I want to make more of these videos. I give credit to people that make these videos on the regular basis. They are a lot of work, a lot of time. You know, if you're making videos and you're just starting out, keep going because it pays off in the end. It's cool to go back and see. It's hard to dedicate the time. Not only like editing is a lot of time, but just setting up cameras and different camera angles. Like in the middle of a job, it just seems counterproductive to be working and then stop working to move a camera. So hopefully I can do it this year. We'll see. Hopefully I can at least get out maybe 1 or 2 a month. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to swing it around. We're going to talk about the work area, and then I'll swing everything around and we'll start talking about some equipment. So over here we have the workstation, and that looks roughly the same from 2023. I would like to clean it up a little bit more, but you know, this thing's constantly getting used. Tools are being moved in and out. I try to clean it up after every project, which I'm pretty good at, but you know, a lot of times it just ends up looking like this, just kind of stuff everywhere. Something I'd like to work on, but the reality is it's just always moving, and I know everything is, but it's always moving around. So we'll see if I can adjust this at all in 2025. But over here is the first big change. So in the last video I had a Can-Am Commander. I really enjoyed that machine. It was quick. It had the kind of the multiple function of being a trail machine, but it had the dump bed in the back, you know, for mulch or hauling wood. But as I rode that machine more and more, I quickly realized that I was just kind of outperforming its capabilities. The type of riding, we're not getting super crazy out there, but we're kind of pushing ourselves, and I was starting to bottom out a lot, and it just didn't have the capabilities I wanted. On top of the fact that I've always loved these KRXs, I think they built them absolutely great. So when the opportunity came up, I ended up buying this and selling the Commander. I bought this in May of 2023, and as it sits now, it has, let's see, 1,300 miles on it. So it gets good, pretty good use. We still try to go once a month. We force ourselves to go. As silly as that is, we're all really busy with kids and family, but we're all pretty good at dedicating one day or 1 weekend a month to go riding. So I absolutely love this thing. I've done some upgrades to it. I bought it completely stock, completely brand new. Obviously threw some accessories on there. You know, the side mirrors, the windshield wipers, rock guards, roof, spare tire, on and on and on. Again, this thing has been a blast, and I'm so glad I made the switch. Not that the Commander was bad, it just wasn't really fitting what I was doing. So that's the first piece. Second piece is the Polaris Sportsman, which my wife bought, I believe, at the end of 2022. Luckily, she's been able to get this thing out a couple times a year. I think now it has, let's see. Oh, let's see. Is the battery dead? Oh, there we go. This has 362 miles. So she doesn't get it out a lot. We get out maybe, I think last year we got out 2 or 3 times together. But it's a nice little hobby for us to kind of get away, get out on the trails, and do something fun by ourselves. So that's the Polaris 2015 or 2016 Sportsman 450. The rest of the shop, kind of pretty much the same. Again, just I'm not a super messy person, but I'm definitely not the most organized. There's just clutter everywhere, and I'd love to clean it up and dedicate the time to clean it up, and I hope that I can do that this year just to kind of be more efficient. Hand tools over here, car wash material over there, nothing too new or too crazy in here. So we'll head outside. I guess, well, the first thing I'll touch on is the 2 pieces of equipment that aren't here. The Cat skid steer is up at the lumber yard. I've been plowing there for 3 years now, and this has been the best year. Actually, last month in January, I did more plowing in January than I did the previous 2 years combined. So it's been a good year of plowing. On the flip end, I'm getting kind of exhausted of plowing, and I hope maybe this might be my last year. I don't know for sure, because the lumberyard is one of the easiest accounts you can ever have. The people up there are super cool. The contractor that I work for is super cool. The hours are 7 through 6 Monday through Friday, half day on Saturday, no Sundays, no holidays. And if it snows, they want you up there plowing. So I just pretty much go in circles, and they pay me every time I do it. You know, if I do it once, they pay me. If I do it a second time, they pay me. So the account's great, but it is taxing on life because you could never plan for it. You know, for instance, today we were supposed to get rain, and it snowed 2 inches. It's Sunday. It's supposed to be 55 tomorrow, so I have not plowed yet, but I have to wake up tomorrow at 2, 3 o'clock and check and see if the snow's still on the ground. So it gets kind of aggravating in that part. I don't know if I'm going to be plowing. I probably will, but hopefully maybe at the end of this year I can make that decision. So the Cat skid steer is up there, 2024 279D. That machine has been pretty good for me. It's had its quirks. I bought it used with like 1,900 hours or 2,000 hours. I think I just hit 2,400 on it. I don't use it a ton, so it's hard for me to go justify and replace it, because it's a machine that probably costs, like if I went with a Cat, I think I'm going to be about 90 grand. If I went with maybe a Bobcat or a Kubota, I'm going to be 70 to 80. Brand new. I mean, that's a lot of money to spend on a machine to just use, you know, like 50 to 100 hours a year. So I probably will just keep the Cat and run it as long as I can and just keep kind of fixing it. You know, nothing big is wrong with it. It's just kind of, it's like little problems here or there that just get frustrating. I'm not a mechanic, so if I can't see it and fix it, I have to send it to someone. And I don't mind paying, I just mind the downtime and the inconvenience. So the Cat's been, it's been good, but it's not been great. So I'll just leave it at that. The other piece of equipment is my dump trailer. I've had that thing for, I think I'm going on 10 years. It's a 2010 Gatormaid 14-footer. I just used it the other day. I made a dump run to the dump, hauling construction debris. It's in kind of some rough shape. It could use a little bit of love, so I don't think I'll have time this year, but maybe next winter I tear it down, get it painted, and redo some lights. I really only use it 2-3 times a year, so it's hard to justify putting any kind of, you know, money or effort into it. But it also is kind of becoming not unsafe, but just it's ugly and it needs some love. So we'll see where that takes me. I know I'll definitely never buy a new one. I'll probably end up just redoing that one. So we'll head outside and we'll check out what's going on out there. So here we have the 2021 Ram 2500. This truck just hits, let's see, I think just over 58,000 miles. Coming up on 4 years on this truck, and I have to say it's been by far my most favorite truck that I've ever owned. With that being said, I just put a down payment on a new build, and I'm not going to reveal what that is just yet. All I'm going to say is it's not a Ram and it's not a diesel, and as many people might guess, I'm just kind of moving away from diesel and going back to gas in my personal truck, and I'll touch on that more when the new truck comes in. I also would like to do a review on this truck for anyone interested in maybe buying one. So before I trade it in or sell it, I'll do a review on this one and reveal the new one. But overall, this has been a fantastic truck. It's kind of bittersweet to see it go, but I think the time is right now to do it. So over here is another new piece of equipment. My landscape trailer, it was probably I think it was the first trailer I ever bought. Finally bit the dust. It just it had enough. I think it was like 22 years old, and I ended up selling it for actually more than I bought it for. It was in kind of rough shape, but the person bought it, and you know, it was a good trailer for me, but it was time to go. I actually ended up buying another open trailer, and then this one came available on Marketplace for a really good price, so I bought this and sold the open trailer. This is a 2019, I think it's a Look. It's a 16 footer, 8.5 feet wide, but the real nice thing is it's a 10,000 pound trailer, so it's built a little bit more heavy duty than like the 7,500 pound trailers. And I'm really glad I bought this. We'll step inside. I've always wanted an enclosed trailer, and to have everything in here and not have to unload it or anything like that has been absolutely awesome. I've also used it on a few like camping trips with the four-wheeler, just throw an air mattress in here, and it's been absolutely great. One thing is I bought this at the end of 2023, like the very end, so I used it, but I didn't use it much, and then I used it all of 2024. And the thing is, this year I want to get this thing set up and organized. I want to start hanging some stuff on the walls because everything's kind of just in here like a bomb went off, and absolutely driving me nuts. So my goal this March is to get everything out of here, maybe paint the floor, put some racks up to get my weed whacker off the ground, get the blower off the ground, and just organize this area up here. But other than that, the trailer has been absolutely great. Back here we still have the right stander. I believe it's a 2020 or a 2015 19 horsepower Kawasaki with 52-inch cut, and I have 930 hours on this. By far one of the best pieces of equipment I've ever bought. I finally took it to the dealer this year to have them do some work on it, and the only thing they could really find wrong with it was like one of these caster wheels were bad, and I think they replaced the pulley down there. 930 hours, I've literally done almost nothing to this mower. My throttle cable broke this year, and I think I replaced the belts on the deck. That's like literally it. So this thing has been absolutely awesome. Cut's great. I can't say enough good things about this. Up here we still have the Walker 2010. This thing's 15 years old. It's got 2,478 hours on it. I thought this was going to be the year that I blew the engine. It was acting kind of funny. Took it up to the dealer, and it just was a bad carb. They ended up cleaning it, and it's been running great ever since. So this thing has been awesome. I don't use it all that much, as I've said, but mainly for fall cleanups. And it's been absolutely, again, I've had this thing for probably, I don't know, 7-8 years, and it's been pretty much problem free for me. So that's the enclosed trailer with the mower setup. As I said, I'm absolutely loving this thing. Let's see what we got out here. So here's a big purchase for me, and what I ended up doing is I ended up getting completely out of stump grinding. Stole my stump grinder, and I didn't buy this, I ended up leasing it. This is a Bobcat E26. It's a 2024. By far, probably one of the best business decisions I ever made was to get out of stump grinding and get into the excavating more. And I'll touch on that back inside. But this thing has been absolutely awesome. I believe I have, I don't have the key out here, but about 150 hours on this, compared to like the 30 or 40 I was putting on the stump grinder. So it gets about triple the usage of the stump grinder, and it's been absolutely great for me. I'll touch on that a little bit more inside. Over here, another new purchase. I got this in July of 2024. It's a Chevy 6500. It's got the PTO dump. I think I have 3,900 miles on this. PTO dump, 11-foot bed. This thing is an absolute beast. I went from being able to haul 4 tons legally to hauling 6 tons legally. It just built better than the Ford. The Ford was kind of giving me some problems. I wanted to hold on to it for like another year or two, but I found this at a dealership close to me, and I ended up trading in the Ford for this. It's been awesome. So like I said, Chevy 6500, 2-wheel drive with about 6 tons of carrying capacity. And this is my main workhorse now, and it's part of the reason why I'm going from a diesel in this to a gas, because I just don't use this truck as a diesel anymore. I just don't need it. You know, it hauls my landscape trailer, does a little bit of towing, but that's really about it. So that's why I'm trading it in. Over here is the 2016 Big Tex equipment trailer. Nothing new or crazy with that. Pretty much the same as last time. We're loaded up for a job tomorrow, which I hope to film, and we'll head back in and we'll talk and summarize a little bit more. Okay, so the decision to get out of stump grinding and focus more on the excavating side of the business was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I absolutely love stump grinding. It was probably the most favorite service I offered. I just, unfortunately, I couldn't dedicate the time to grow that aspect of my business. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of competition in my area, and a lot of guys that do it full time. So I couldn't advertise to tree companies that didn't have stump grinders, because it was awkward. The tree company would cut down the tree and they would call me and say, hey, the stump's ready. And I'd say, great, I'll be there in a week or two. And they say, what do you mean you'll be there in a week or two? I said, well, I got all these other excavating jobs and landscaping jobs I need to do first. I can't break away from those to go grind a small stump. And it just became awkward because the customer would pay for the stump. The tree company would tell them that the stump guy would be there in 2 weeks, and it just never flowed great. And I just had to nix it. So buying that Bobcat was great. The Bobcat, I went with an E26, and the reason I went with that is I just wanted to get in the game. I have a few friends that have like 35s and 60s, the bigger machines. If I ever got a big job, I can either call them and we can do it together, or I can rent their machine or borrow their machine. So I wanted to go with the 26 because I'm still doing landscaping. It's a little bit lighter. It's easier on the turf, but it was still big enough to lift over, you know, into my dump trailer or into my dump truck. So for me, it was like the perfect size. I ended up leasing it. And the reason I went with the lease is I got a 2-year lease on it. I I've never owned one before, and I went and I looked at 4 of them. I actually went and looked at 3. I looked at a Bobcat, I looked at a Takeuchi, and I looked at a Sani, and then I got a price on a cat. The price on the cat was just outrageous. The Takeuchi just didn't really feel comfortable on. So I was kind of between the Sani and the Bobcat. I went with the Bobcat mainly because of the dealer support. I actually thought the Sani was a pretty decent machine. Their dealer was the furthest away from me, and my thought was I wasn't sure how long I was going to have this machine. I think the Bobcat would be an easier machine to sell if I ever wanted to than the Sani, just because of the name. So that's why I went with the Bobcat. I did a 2-year lease because I didn't know what I liked. I sat on all 3 of them, and I'm like, they all kind of feel the same. So I'm like, I don't want to commit to this thing for 4 or 5 years. I just want to do a 2-year lease, see what I like. Turns out I actually really like the machine, and I'll probably end up buying it after my lease is up. Switching into excavating, doing waterproofing jobs, did some small additions, did a lot of pool demos last year. By far, again, one of the best moves in my life to focus on that, and that's where I'm hoping to take 2025. So again, hope to film a lot more work this year. It's going to start tomorrow with the waterproofing job. Let's see if I can do it. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll check in on the next video.